We have breaking news as the Vancouver Canucks and Patrik Allvin sign Hoglander to an extension. We're going to break down this extension, how it is absolutely perfect for the Canucks, and more later on this episode. Before we start, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone that is subscribed. To anyone that's not subscribed, if you enjoy the Canucks content and you want to stay up to date on the Canucks, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all off season, almost into next season, giving you updates from everything around the Canucks. With that, let's hop straight into the big topic, which is the Canucks extend Nils Hoglander. Now, the biggest thing is we've seen Patrik Allvin just be on the phone constantly today. We've seen him make a trade, sending Tucker to Colorado, and we do get from reporter Chris Johnson saying the Canucks have signed Hoglander to a 3-year contract extension carrying an AAV of $3 million. Now, this contract is absolutely perfect. I mean, right now he is signed on this one more year at 1.1 mil, but looking at the contract breakdown, he is going to make $3 million over the next 3 seasons with the Canucks. And Griffin, just looking at the contract, seeing the production that Hoglander's been putting up, how he's been developing, what's your thoughts on this deal?
I love it, especially coming at a time where we just got rid of Tucker Pullman. We covered in our last 2 videos how it would be so useful for them to get rid of him. And now they did, and they have that cap space to go out and extend a guy like Nils Hoglander because he's so young. He has so much potential. The ceiling is so high for him, and he's been developing so well within this Vancouver system. Tocchet, Allvin, they all have had nothing but great things to say about him. And he's going to find a great spot within the 3rd and 4th line and then work his way up to eventually be one of the top 6 guys of the future. Maybe he becomes like an Elias Pettersson someday. Maybe he becomes one of the core 4 members of this team in the future. And this is a great first step towards getting to that.
Yeah, and exactly. We're seeing Allvin, like I said, doing so much magic, signing this 3-year contract, locking up Hoglander to this team. I mean, when you're looking at just the stats, he's continuing to develop every year. We've seen him break into the league, putting up 13 goals and 14 assists for 27 points. Going into last season, we've seen him putting up 24 goals, 12 assists for 36 points. This guy is still young at the age of 23. He's going to be locked up into his late 20s. Having a guy like this locked up, a former 2nd round pick, 40th overall by the Canucks in 2019, we're seeing Allvin finally make it so we can trust a management. A guy that's going to come in, sign these contracts, not signing OEL to his $10 million contract. This is a guy coming in, picking up these players and signing them to what is a team-friendly deal. And when you're going into this, this is the perfect contract. This is a contract that a lot of people are going to look at in the next couple of years and be like, wow, this is an absolute steal. First off, we've seen Patrik Allvin kind of talk on Hoglander going into preseason, and he said, we're all impressed with the way Nils came into training camp and approached the preseason. His work ethic, his motor has helped him establish himself as an NHL player, and we feel like we continue to support and develop. He has a lot more room to grow, both on and off the ice. This is a contract that is going to age magically. I mean, when we're looking at his stats, as I said, he just broke the 20 goals in his NHL career. He had 24 goals just last season. This is a guy that could reach 30 goals as early as next season if he's playing with Petey. Looking at these stats, Griffin, do you think he could maybe put up a 30 and 30 season for 60 points?
I think that would be really awesome to see, especially in the first year of that bit since the extension. I think that would be a great first step for him to just make a bigger splash on this Canucks roster. We know that it's been a little bit of a long time coming for him. This has been some development over the past few years where he's needed to have that time to grow, and now he's fully ready. And this is a team where Allvin said it best. He's ready to be on the NHL stage, and he's made a good job of doing that where these AHL guys, he's not throwing them into the wolves. He's not feeding them to the fire. He's making sure that they're ready, and especially even with injuries too, they're making sure that guys are now 110% ready rather than even 100 because they know how much things can go wrong so fast. So having an insurance policy not only with Nils Hoglander extended, but also as an insurance policy for the future, I think that's just amazing on top of great news with the extension and how much he has the potential to hit those 30 and 30. I think that would be a bit of a stretch in his first year, but I think he does have the potential of doing it the following season.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is when you're looking at some players that scored between 23 and 25 goals last year, you can work your way down this list. There's guys like Zibanejad, there's guys like Anze Kopitar. You can see Hoglander down there at number 90. But the biggest thing with this is so many contracts around him are so much bigger. With him making AAV of 1.1 million this season, going into the next 3 years after that being 3 million, you look at some of the guys. You have a guy like Evander Kane, gross, yes, we all understand. But Evander Kane put up 24 goals, getting paid almost $6 million. You see a guy like Jeff Skinner that put up the same amount of goals, and yes, he is out of his prime a bit, but making $9 million with Buffalo when he did play there. You can work your way around this list, and just seeing Hoglander scoring as many goals as these guys and getting a fraction of what some of them are getting paid really shows how much true value we can get out of this, how much we can get out of this guy. And in Tocchet's system, do you think he's going to develop into more of a two-way game as well, Griffin?
I think for sure, especially when we're seeing a player like Aatu Ratu playing as a two-way player as well. I think if Vancouver wants to be more competitive and just surprise teams and be a bit different than what everyone else is doing, I think having a two-way player like that goes a long way, where you have a Swiss Army knife player, and especially when now they have two of those players in Aatu Ratu and potentially Hoglander, I think that goes a long way towards that. And then especially where Petey can play on the center and on the wing as well, I think Vancouver is just building themselves not only for depth position, but also for just utility belts. Players that not a lot of teams have these type of players, but Vancouver does, and that's going to be able to make a difference on the score sheet for sure.
And yeah, just talking about what the Canucks have, I mean, this is from Daily Faceoff, so we say it all the time, this is not what we're projecting, but this is what they have. You can see a guy like Ratu projected to actually play with Nils Hoglander and a guy like Connor Garland, but this is a deep team. This is a team with Hoglander is going to play on the third line. He's going to score another 20 goals. We've seen him dominate on the fourth line last year. If he gets into this middle six, or top six for the entirety of the season, we could see him score 30 goals if he's playing with PD, if he's playing with a guy like JT Miller. He's going to produce, and he continues to get better. He's also someone that's on the second power play unit with a guy like Denton Heinen, Connor Garland, Daniel Sprong, and Hronek. Yes, a guy like Dakota Joshua will probably go on to this lineup, but at the very moment, it seems like this contract for a middle six guy, especially with the cap going up, the inflation, having this guy as a second unit, having this guy in the middle six that could play in the top six is going to show so much value for this team. And just to give the flowers to Allvin, having the system of young players coming up. We have guys like Jonathan Leckermack, which I'm sure everyone's sick of me talking about. But having these young guys, all these guys on the team, even a couple veterans like PDG, these guys can come up at any moment and really make an impact. And Griffin, just looking at this list, do you think there's anyone that's going to start breaking out and maybe in the next couple of years we're going to look at a huge extension and be like, hey, Allvin worked his magic again?
I think Leckermack definitely is putting himself in a spot to do that. I think Ratu is as well. Baines could be one of those sneaky guys. We know he made a little bit of a splash in the preseason, so we're going to see what he does in this regular season opening week or so, just seeing how he has that confidence and carries it over. So I think those three guys are ones to look for in the future. But again, this is something where the Canucks have been a team of surprises. We go out and make surprise signings, surprise trades, and surprise moves that nobody is expecting. We didn't expect two pieces of news to drop on a Sunday of all days, but here we are talking about not only Tucker Poolman, but also about Nils Hoglander being extended. So this is a team where it could happen at any moment. That's the beauty of the NHL. That's just the beauty of sport as well. So this is going to be an interesting team to follow for the next few years to come, and we can't wait to be covering them.
Yeah, they're going to continue to be dominant. But what's your guys' thoughts on this extension? Do you think it's a good one? Do you think he got less than you were expecting? Let us know down in the comments. But speaking on comments, we'll hop in everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. The comment today comes from It's Me T222. And they say, come up, watch a game. The person experience is amazing. This was when I asked the question if anyone's going to any games. And I do want to travel up. I have a lot of family in BC, and going to another game is definitely high on my radar. The first game I ever seen by the Canucks was actually Roberto Luongo shutting out the St. Louis Blues 4-0. So going to see another game definitely has to happen. But if you guys are going to see any games, let us know down in the comments what game you're going to, who you're excited to watch at that game. If you're down there and you leave the comment, you could be featured on Comment Today like It's Me did today. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friend. We'll be back maybe tonight if more news drops with another episode. So keep your eyes out. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Griffin. Take care.